Today we're going to use a ring sling. First thing I'm going to do is teach you how to thread it. So if you take the tail and just pleat it, kind of pinch it up, and then you want to make sure that it doesn't get twisted as you do this. Pass it up through both rings. You can guess your size based on your hip to your shoulder, and then open it and pass this back through. So that's a good starting spot. At this point, you want to work the fabric and make sure that the edges are in the edge of the rings and that all of it is spread out in the rings. And at this point, you can put it on. Shoulder doesn't matter, whichever shoulder feels more comfortable to you. I use my right shoulder, so because I want it to end up on my right shoulder, I'm going to have the tail facing the right, and I'm going to use my right hand to hold the rings, and then I'm just going to pass it up and over my shoulder, and that way I don't end up with it on backwards. Okay? So at this point, I have my rings up here near my collarbone, but just under my collarbone. And then I just want to make sure that it's all spread out across my back, like that. And then I'm going to do some adjustment before I add the baby. So I'm going to start with my bottom rail, and I'm just going to pass all of this excess up and across and pull that through, and then pull out any slack that showed up in my rings. And then I'm going to take my top rail, and I'm going to stick my elbow in the sling, and I'm going to pull this and get all the slack from across my back and bring all of it over to the rings and pull all of that through. So this will get me a good starting position, approximately how much room my baby will take up. So at this point, I'm going to collect my baby. Okay, so I'm going to put my baby up on my shoulder in a high burp position, as though I was going to burp him. And I'm just going to reach up through the sling and find his feet. And then I'm going to pass all this up behind him. And then what I want to do is lean forward and help him sit down into the sling. Okay? I can double check his seat by reaching between me and his leg, and just leaning forward and really pulling that seat up between us. And I lost his toesies. There we go. So now he has both of his feet down and his bottom is lower than his knees. And then from this point, I'm going to need to tighten. You can see that the top rail is obviously way too loose, so I need to tighten that. So I'm just going to lift his weight and pull that fabric through. I kind of pull it back in the direction that the sling goes. It should go pretty much in the right direction. There's your little fingers. With newborns, they often want their hands kind of up near their face where they can reach their fingers to suck on them. If I didn't like these rings kind of closest to his face, I could take my tail and kind of wrap it through there. Get that, cover those rings for him. If I wanted to nurse him, I'm going to unwrap those rings, and then I'm just going to loosen him a tiny bit. Ooh, scooch him down to the right height. You can either nurse upright, or if that's not comfortable for you, you can take the far leg and bring it over towards the rings. You kind of bring him into a cradle position for nursing, and then you would just adjust your shirt and he could nurse. This is not really a hands-free nursing position. This is a hand-free. You want to be supporting his head while you're doing this. And then when he's done, you always want to make sure that you lift him back into that high, tight position. Nursing in a sling is a fairly advanced move. I would not recommend it until you are very confident and comfortable with nursing, and you are confident and comfortable with your carrier. You can see that he has his head here with good airway. If I wanted to give him a little bit more head support, I could use the tail of my sling or a washcloth or a burp rag. Just kind of fold the sling over and make a little pillow for the back.